The bystander effect. Why people don't help in emergencies. Imagine walking down a busy street. You suddenly see someone collapse on the sidewalk. You freeze. You look around. Dozens of people are watching too, but no one moves. What? This chilling phenomenon has a name, the bystander effect, and it reveals a lot about how our brains respond in critical moments. Why do people freeze in emergencies? Why does responsibility seem to vanish in a crowd? Let's dive into the psychology behind one of the most disturbing and fascinating human behaviors. What is the bystander effect? The bystander effect is a psychological phenomenon where people are less likely to help a person in need when others are present. In other words, the more witnesses there are, the less likely it is that anyone will step forward. This concept was first studied in the 1960s and has since been confirmed by dozens of psychological experiments. But its roots go deeper, into fear, social pressure, diffusion of responsibility, and our most primitive instincts. The case that shocked the world, Kitty Genovese. The bystander effect gained global attention after a horrifying real-life event. In 1964, a woman named Kitty Genovese was brutally attacked outside her apartment in New York City. According to early reports, 38 people witnessed the attack, but no one called the police until it was too late. Kitty died from her wounds. While later investigations questioned the exact number of witnesses, the story ignited a firestorm in psychology. Why didn't anyone help? The answer wasn't cruelty, it was human psychology. The science behind the bystander effect. Psychologists Bibb Latané and John Darley were stunned by the Kitty Genovese case. They conducted a series of experiments that revealed several key causes of the bystander effect. 1. Diffusion of responsibility. In a group, individuals often assume someone else will take action. The more people there are, the more responsibility is spread out, and the less any one person feels compelled to help. Thought process. Someone else will call 911. Surely someone knows what to do better than I do. This subconscious passing of the buck is one of the main drivers of the bystander effect. 2. Social influence, pluralistic ignorance. When we're unsure what to do, we look to others for cues. If everyone else appears calm, we assume the situation isn't serious, even if someone is clearly in distress. Example: in an emergency, if others around you are standing still or walking by, you may hesitate because they're not reacting. This creates a false sense of safety even when danger is obvious. 3. Fear of judgment. Many people fear looking foolish or overreacting. They worry. What if it's not really an emergency? What if I step in and make things worse? Will I get in trouble for interfering? The fear of public embarrassment often paralyzes people more than fear for the victim's safety. 4. Assumption of expertise. We assume that someone else nearby is more qualified to help. A nurse, a security guard, an off-duty cop. Surely they should step in. This mental shortcut delays our response. 5. Anonymity and de-individuation. In large crowds, people feel less visible and more anonymous. This anonymity reduces the pressure to act because no one will notice if you don't. Psychologists call this de-individuation, the loss of self-awareness in groups. Real-life examples of the bystander effect. This isn't just theory, the bystander effect plays out in real life every day. Subway incidents. People collapse in crowded train stations and are ignored for minutes. Public assaults. Street fights or robberies are filmed on phones instead of stopped. Medical emergencies. In stores or parks, people hesitate to approach someone in distress. Sometimes these delays are deadly. Does the bystander effect always happen? No. People do help, especially when they're alone with the victim. They feel personally connected to the person in need. Someone directly asks for their help. They are trained or confident in what to do, e.g. CPR. The bystander effect is a tendency, not a law. Awareness is the first step to breaking it. How to beat the bystander effect. Want to be the person who doesn't freeze? Here's how. Take initiative. If you notice something wrong, take action, even if it's just calling 911. Others will often follow your lead. Make it personal. Don't shout, "Someone call for help." Instead, point to someone and say, "You in the red shirt, call 911 now." This eliminates ambiguity and forces responsibility. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't wait for others to confirm your concerns. Take action and worry about appearances later. Educate others. Teach friends, coworkers, and kids about the bystander effect. The more people know, the more likely they are to break the cycle. Is technology making the bystander effect worse? In some ways, yes. With phones in every hand, people often record emergencies rather than help. Posting a video can feel like doing something, but it rarely helps the victim. In other cases, social media spreads awareness and prompts action, so it's a double-edged sword. Why this matters more than ever. In an age of constant information and busy lives, it's easier than ever to look away. But being a passive bystander in emergencies can cost lives. When people assume someone else will help, often no one does. Conclusion: be the one who helps. The bystander effect is real, powerful, and dangerous, but it's also preventable. Every time you choose to act instead of freeze, you defy this invisible force. You don't need to be a hero, just a human who cares enough to step forward. Next time you witness something wrong, remember, doing something is always better than doing nothing.